Hi guys, I'm Riz. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're cooking lamb karahi. So, once again, we're starting with sunflower oil, a little bit of cinnamon, black cardamom, black zira, and about 5 cloves. Okay, 5 black cardamoms to 6, 5 cloves, just a pinch of black zira, and a small stick, 1 to 2 inches of cinnamon. So, a traditional lamb karahi, but in not such a traditional way. Okay, I'm gonna keep this very original. We've got our meat here. I'm using lamb shoulder, not leg. A lot of people tend to use leg, but I find that it's a little bit drier. Okay, so what we've got here is 1.8 kgs of spring lamb shoulder, cut into curry pieces, approximately 30 to 35 grams. First thing we're gonna do is go in with the lamb. Just so you know, we're using fresh tomatoes, blended with skin, cumin seeds, fresh whole, that I've actually blended, black pepper I've kept coarse, I'll explain why later on, and fine coriander seeds and whole garlic. First thing, my rule, for every kilogram of lamb, 1 heaped tablespoon of salt. So, we've got 1.8 kgs, so we can go with, we're safe to say we can go with 2 tablespoons of salt. Here goes the salt. At this point, whole cloves straight in. I'm gonna keep the heat right down. Give this a stir. So what we're doing here is, from the whole spices we put in, and the oil, salt, and the whole cloves, we're gonna let that fuse. I'm not in favor of pressure cookers. I prefer to cook slow, in steam, and use the actual gelatin from the meat into the flavor. So pressure cookers is a no-no for me. Right, we've got an hour and a half. At this point, yogurt chicken. I know everyone's used to chicken tikka masala or butter chicken, but today, slightly different. I'm making a yogurt chicken. We have over here 1.5 kgs of chicken thigh. Okay, you're probably wondering why. I've gone with chicken thigh. I find it more tender than a chicken breast, which dries up. So we're going for chicken thigh, 50 ml of sunflower oil. Heat down. We're going to add some garlic. Approximately 1.5 tablespoons. While that garlic's simmering, we're going to marinate the chicken. So as I said, 1.5 kg of chicken thigh. It's juicy, it's tender. We're going to marinate this for about 10 minutes. We've got here turmeric. Again, 1.5 tablespoons. We've got some bullet chilies for this later, so not too much red chili. I would say about 1/2 tablespoon. As our garlic simmering, we're going to add some fresh whole cumin seeds to this. Once again, roughly about 1.5 tablespoons. Just to add some flavor to the oil. Ginger, again, 1.5 tablespoons. Whilst that's fusing, back over to the chicken. At this point, we're going to add some yogurt. I've got about 500 grams of yogurt here. A nice, thick, silky Greek yogurt. While that's going on, just have a look at the lamb. There we go. Heat's down. We can see it foaming. That's what we want. You can see that we are probably, what, 6 or 7 minutes in. The meat's still red in places. We're going very slow with this. Our ginger, garlic, and zira, cumin seeds, fusing nicely with our oil. We want to get a nice brown texture to that. I'd say another 5 minutes. The emphasis here is that we're using the yogurt as a base. We've got our chicken in here, we've put turmeric in this. and we've also put cumin seeds. So we're gonna just let it marinate just for about 10 minutes so that chicken can absorb that yogurt. When touching chicken or meat, always a good idea, wash your hands, right? Stops cross-contamination and E. coli. You can see that foam is the meat releasing gelatin. Don't worry about it, it's all very normal. I've deliberately gone with only 50 ml of oil because I want to use the natural fat. What we don't do is we don't seal the meat. In my opinion, the biggest mistake you can make, okay? So what I've gone in with the cloves and the whole masalas that you saw is because I want the meat to fuse with the oil and those flavors. And the only way you're gonna get that salt inside that meat is for it to cook slowly. If I was to seal that meat now, that salt's not gonna reach the bone. Sealing the meat is essentially shallow frying meat. This is not the idea here, okay? So we're cooking slow, we're cooking in steam, salt, spices, cloves, oil, very slowly because we want those flavors to really penetrate that meat. Okay, so as you can see now, we've started to reach that crisp golden color with the ginger and garlic. We can see our cumin seeds are nice and brown, got the right texture there. Again, we're cooking this without onions. At this stage, I'm gonna go in with that one and a half tablespoons of salt. There we go. And for the garam masala that we mixed earlier, there we go, freshly blended. Smells amazing. Again, 1.5 tablespoons. And as I always say, let that masala cook for a minute or so. It's a mistake that everybody makes. It's been a minute now. Just gonna pull this off the heat. In here I've got 5 tomatoes blended with skin. Again, as I always say, nice and ripe, nice and cheap. In we go. That's been sitting there for about 10 minutes now, okay? Spices enriched, yogurt, marination. We're gonna go in with that now. Okay, in goes our marinated chicken, in the yogurt. Gonna mix that together. We're gonna let this cook approximately half an hour. I normally use bullet chilies for garnishing, but in this case, we want that flavor to fuse. So let's put some bullet chilies in there. About 10 bullet chilies. Leave them on top, close the lid, low heat, let it fuse and steam. Okay, so about 20-25 minutes in, our lamb is cooking nice and slowly. Not red anymore. Again, a good indicator for cooking lamb is the bone marrow. At this point, I'm going to add the ginger. 2 heaped tablespoons of ginger. There we go. I'm going to let that fuse with the meat. We'll add some more ginger later just as a garnish. Just as a quick recap, and if your memory is like mine, you want to recap and summarize. So, can you remember? 1.5 kgs of lamb, put the cloves in there, put some whole spices in the beginning with the oil, garlic cloves went in whole, and I just added the ginger. You're probably wondering what I've got here. So, I've got some salt to taste, which I've left aside. There's my dry coriander, fine, coarse black pepper. Now the reason why it's coarse is because we want to add a little crisp to the karahi. There's no need to go fine with that. It adds a little bit of flavor when you have that little crack in that masala, in that gravy. When someone bites into it, that slight crack from those peppercorns adds that extra flavor. Finally, we've got fine cumin seeds, zira. We'll finish with our bullet chilies, coriander, and ginger sticks. Oh, I nearly forgot, a little bit of butter. You don't have to add it, but I like to give a little bit of butter at the end, just to give that extra bit of flavor. Right, so back over here on our chicken, I'm still going slow because I really want those bullet chilies to soften up. And be careful with chicken because it cooks very fast. Now, as you notice, I put the tomatoes at the same time as the chicken. The chicken thigh pieces take a little bit longer than chicken breast. We're making yogurt chicken here. It's very healthy. We only use a little bit of oil. We're gonna go nice and slow to begin with. We're gonna break that yogurt down. Now, if you cook yogurt too fast, it curds. Okay, nice and slow to begin with, and we'll increase the heat as we're going along. Okay guys, so we're now about 45 minutes in. If you check the lamb, it's now released all its own flavor, all its own oils into the pan. That's what we're looking for, that flavor. All that is the natural gelatin from the meat itself. At this point, I'm going to go in with the spices. We're only using 3. Okay, so we've got here dry coriander seeds. If you remember, 1.8 kgs of lamb. So approximately 2 tablespoons of everything. So there we go. Coriander, a little bit left over, won't do any harm. Cumin seeds, freshly ground. Again, 2 tablespoons. Black pepper, 2 tablespoons. Just as always, before the tomatoes go in, we're going to let them fuse with the meat and oil. We've all been taught whilst cooking tomatoes and spices. No, I disagree. What happens is the spices, 2 reasons, don't get a chance to fuse, number 1. Number 2, they don't get a chance to cook. That's what causes us issues afterwards, okay? Heartburn, indigestion, etc. Once you release those flavors, those spices aren't gonna bite you afterwards. So, lid on, 1 minute, let it fuse. Back over to the chicken. So, same heat, letting that chicken simmer in that yogurt. Letting those tomatoes break down with the chicken. Okay, just to give you an idea, tomatoes and chicken, they're cooking approximately at the same time. Right, back here again, minutes up. You'll see now the meat's taken on a rich color. It's glistening, it's shining. Look at that. Look at that glisten and shine. Again, natural oils, natural animal fats, natural gelatin. Okay? Remember, I only started with 50 ml of oil. Now my meat's about 50% cooked. This stage, going in with the tomatoes. Remember, 10 ripe plum tomatoes with the skin, grinded, in they go. Give it a good mix. Now, for those of you out there probably thinking that I'm not cooking in a karahi, but I'm making a lamb karahi. Very important. I want to keep this simple. It's for everybody. Not everyone's going to have a karahi wok at home made out of iron. Okay. What I'm demonstrating here is you can make a lamb karahi in a normal stainless steel pot. Wherever possible, I will try and cook everything I can in what everyone's got at home. What are these? There's 2 things you can't buy: true love and true food. Okay, back over to the chicken. Simmering nicely, nice and slow. You see our chicken there, cooking in steam, coming together nicely. At this stage, I'm going to raise the heat. I want that water to dry without overcooking the chicken. I'm going to remove this lid. I want the water to evaporate. Okay, with the chicken, you're probably wondering, how do we know when it's ready? So come close, I'll show you. We know we're going well. As you can see, what's happening there is, can you see the oil coming up? Very important, okay? So let that sit, the oil starts coming up. Give it a stir every couple of minutes so it doesn't touch the bottom. As you know, oil and water doesn't mix. We start seeing small bubbles in there, okay? We're heading in the right direction. We're nearly there. I think another 10 minutes and this will be ready. Right, back over to our lamb. There we go. Look at the color on that, guys. I wish you could smell that. So, a lot of people wonder, You've got a lamb curry, you've got a lamb bhuna, you've got a lamb karahi. What's the difference? The base of a lamb karahi, the gravy of a lamb karahi is the oil. Cooking away, simmering away, no water added, no water at all, okay? I don't want to go so fast that I dry the water out of this before the lamb's ready. You have to catch that balance, okay? So going nice and slowly, wait for the tomatoes to release the water at the same time I want the lamb to cook. If I go too fast, I'm stuck. I'll have to add water. That's not what we do. As I always say, if you don't have time, get a takeaway, yeah? We're going nice and slow. Got my friends over. We've got the lamb on. We've got the chicken on. We're nearly there. With our lamb, just to give you guys an idea, let me just grab a nice round piece so we know where we are, okay? Now, a lot of people, they're nervous about cooking lamb, okay? Again, just like anything else, check the meat. I would say that's got a half an hour, that'll be ready. Right, with our chicken, as you can see, color's changing. It's getting a good orange shade to it. That's all the oil that we originally started with coming up. As the water dries from this dish, the oil will rise. Only use a little bit of oil, and I use thigh pieces as they're more fatty. Again, we want to be a little bit health conscious. We don't want to add any saturated fats. We're using original fats from the chicken thigh pieces, hence the reason why I didn't use breast meat. If you want to go with breast meat, it's personal choice. For me, it's either chicken on the bone or it's thigh pieces, only for that extra flavor. As I say, the meat's sweeter close to the bone. What I'm doing here is, I'm scraping off anything which is at the bottom of the pan, okay? Not giving it a chance to stick, not giving it a chance to burn. So every 3 or 4 minutes, as our water starts to dry and those tomatoes start to cook, just giving it a little scrape at the bottom. Very important, because that's where the flavor comes from. What I say is, don't go in and around, okay? So back and forth motions. So as you see, I'm going in, I'm pushing the meat almost back and forth, as you can see, okay? As you gain experience, you can give it a little bit more of that. But the idea is, I'm not playing too much with the meat. As it cooks, it gets more and more fragile. All I'm gonna do is garnish this. Bullet chilies, butter, ginger sticks, coriander. Guys, back at the chicken. As you can see, I've turned the heat down slightly. We're nearly where we want to be. We want to get the sauce as thick as possible on our yogurt chicken, okay? We need to get rid of all the water because we want it to concentrate. The spices that we use, very simple, want it to all concentrate down and become a thick yogurt sauce. It's all now coming together, very nice and thick. Water's evaporating. Yeah, just to bring it under control. I've brought the heat down. Yeah, no rush, take your time. Give it a good stir. Back over to the karahi. So, our tomatoes are cooking nicely. We've got a nice glaze of fat in that. As I said earlier, the whole point of a karahi is to have that flavor. That flavor from the oil and the fats. It is a rich dish. It's not the healthiest dish in the world. There's some cholesterol in there, but hey guys, that's what gives us flavor. At this stage, 100 grams of butter. I've got here 3, 4, 5, about 10 bullet chilies. Gonna go in. Ginger, about a handful. I don't want to put it in too late because I want to retain the flavor from it, okay? So not just for garnishing, but I'm gonna go in now. Got about 15 minutes left. We need to get more and more fragile with the way we stir here, okay? I'm gonna let the butter break down. I wanna cook those bullet chilies to about 50%. I want them to retain their flavor and their aroma. So we need to close it up. Yogurt chicken. Again, nice and healthy, very different to the lamb. Here we go, we're ready. So if you look at that, we've got all the flavor, all the masala sticking to the chicken itself. All the water's gone, okay? There we go. Look at that. It's not butter chicken. It's not chicken tikka masala. It's yogurt chicken. And you heard it from me. Right guys, chicken's ready, coriander in. A lamb, the lamb karahi. Here we go. We're nearly there, okay? The boys are eager, they're hungry, they want to eat. Piece of meat. Right there, okay? Slight pull to it, 10 minutes is ready. We've been cooking for 1 hour and 25 minutes. This is our lamb. Come closer, guys. Scraping it off the bottom. Once again, added no salt, okay? Now the thing with karahi, it's a tribal dish. You don't want the lamb too soft. It's gotta have a little bit of bite. And as I said earlier, no gravy, okay? It's not a korma, it's not a curry. That's the difference. The meat must be enriched with sauce and oils. Yeah? So heavy in fat, heavy in flavor, heavy in cholesterol. And I go with the coriander. It's gonna absorb some of the oils, some of the flavors, some of the taste, some of the aroma. Magic. Lamb karahi without the use of a karahi. Yogurt chicken to keep it healthy. Your choice. Go healthy, you can go rich. See you next time.